Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life of Barney, 100 subscriber brisket edition. I'm here at the good old crappy tire. Got to get myself some charcoal, but we've been having a bit of a charcoal shortage here in southwestern Ontario. I don't know about where you guys are at, if you're having any charcoal shortage, but I was here last weekend and they didn't have any, so we're gonna go inside and see if they got a new shipment. You guys stay tuned. Welcome back. As you can see, I got lucky. I was able to find two 20-pound bags of Royal Oak lump charcoal. Normally, if I'm going to do a long smoke, I prefer to use briquettes. You guys know I'm a beginner. Briquettes are far more forgiving. They have a nice even and long burn. The lump, because of its different size, you can get flare-ups depending on the sizing of the pieces that are in there. But you know what? It's my first one. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I'm really looking forward to it. I've done a little bit of research on YouTube. I got some good tips from Harry Sue. For those of you that don't know, Harry Sue's a competitive barbecuer, and when he rolls up to a competition, he doesn't show up with some $20,000 custom-made, has to tow it with his truck kind of smoker. No, he shows up with like 5 Weber Smoky Mountains. And then the other person's T-Roy Cooks. He's down in Texas. A lot of great tips on his channel. You know, in the barbecue community, we're always trying to promote other people because we're all learning from each other, right? This is a 7.75 pound brisket from Bloomer's Family Farm, which is down here in the Greater London area. Always had a good experience with good cuts of meat from them. I'm looking forward to this. So, something you should probably understand when you're going to do a brisket, just as some general information. Brisket is actually Brisket is actually made up of 2 different cuts of meat, the point and the flat. So you'll notice there's big stubby end and then this sloped part. So the big stubby end is the point and the sloping flat part is the flat. And you can tell it's 2 pieces of meat because they're actually separated by this line of fat right down the middle. One of the nice things about brisket is because of where it comes from the cow, which is the chest area, you'll see a nice level of marbling throughout. And when that fat renders down, that's where a lot of the flavor comes from the inside out. But when you have brisket, you also have to take into account that you have to trim off some of the fat that's on the outside. Doesn't look like there's very much, right? But there's actually a considerable fat cap. Look at this. Okay? That's a lot of fat. You would think, well, that's great if it renders down, you're going to get some great flavor. But the problem is the fat won't cook the same as the meat. The fat won't take on the smoky flavor. Your seasoning won't penetrate through the fat into the meat. So you need to do some trimming. Typically, what I've seen guys do is they don't try and take all the fat off. They just leave a much thinner layer because you do want a little bit for the flavor that it will generate. But, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see from over there, but why don't you come in here and take a look? I mean, there's my, my hand for scale. That's maybe a 1/4 inch thick. That's probably a little too thick. I'm going to just shave it down a little bit all along the top, and then we'll get to the rub. Now that I've finished trimming the fat, it's that part we all love, is doing the rub. Now, as you guys know in previous videos, I come up with all my own rubs. It's hard for me to buy some of the pre-made ones because for you original followers who've been with me since the beginning, you know I can't have anything that has soy products in it. And a lot of the prepared ones, they have something that was made with soy in it. So I gotta make my own from scratch. So I'm gonna show you, or tell you, what I've put in the rub. There we go. All right, this is a roasting pan, but when you put this little rack in it, it's going to do exactly what Harry Sue was trying to do in his video. So what some of these guys are suggesting is when you rub the meat. You need to keep it elevated off the bottom of the pan, the cookie sheet, whatever you have it on, so that when it sweats while it's still sitting in the pan, the bottom doesn't get all soggy. That's where this comes in, right? We have a little bit of air that can get underneath. And last but not least, I'm going to do what I like to call a pro gamer move. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a beginner. You guys know I've never done a brisket before. I'm actually dry brining this brisket in the fridge overnight. 2 reasons. One, did a quick Google search if you're even supposed to do that, and it turns out the results will be fantastic, so I'm excited to try an overnight brine. And number 2, deer season started. I'm just getting into deer season. I'm going to be out with my dad this weekend. We're going to be up early tomorrow morning. I don't have time to do the rub or even to do all the videoing that goes into to the prep and everything. So I figured I may as well do it the night before. Turns out that's a really good idea. I saved one of these seasoning containers from an unknown company. I'll just do this. However, salt, pepper, garlic, a lot of brown sugar, paprika, some cayenne pepper, and some onion powder as well. It's going to be delicious. The rub's on. It's time to get this into the fridge. It is 10 to 6 in the evening, so we're going to be up super early to get out to the deer blind tomorrow morning. I don't know how early, haven't figured that out. But in the morning when I see you guys, I will let you know. In case I forget and I'm, a little out of it because it's early in the morning, I'm going to be aiming for about 250 for 5-ish hours. At that point, I'm going to wrap it. Not everybody wraps it. Everyone has their opinions, and you know what I think about people's opinions. But I'm going to wrap it, and then we're going to watch for the temperature to come up to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the recipe that I'm going to be following, okay? So I'll bring you guys along with me for the journey. I will see you in the morning. Morning, folks. Just about 7 o'clock in the morning. I have just finished preheating the Weber Smoky Mountain, or I should say the charcoal was ready to go and I assembled it. I'm just waiting for it to finish coming up to temperature. And like I said last night, we're looking for 250, and oh, the blue jays are going nuts. We're looking for 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 5-6 hours or so, and then when we do the wrap, I'm going to open the vents a little more and encourage it to come up to about 300 degrees. No particular reason other than that just happened to be what one of the people did in one of the recipes that I saw online. So I'm going to go inside, get the brisket. I'll see you guys in there and I'll show you how it looks. It looks delicious after being in that dry brine in the fridge overnight. And we're going to get this bad boy on to that beautiful Weber Smoky Mountain. Brisket looks great. The rub, I mean, you can really smell the rub. That smells good too. Time to get this out on the Weber Smoky Mountain. I'll see you folks out there. Something I forgot to mention is that I'm actually going to put in a drip pan. For those of you who are interested in following along on my injection series, which I've only done 1 or 2 videos of for the injection series, we're going to need to save the drippings from this recipe for one of our injections. So if you're trying this recipe at home, make sure you got yourself a little pie tin or a Pyrex or something that can handle the heat in a smoker. You're going to want to save the drippings. I've put the brisket fat cap up. I've heard of people doing it both ways. If the fat cap's down, it just means that a lot of the smoke coming from the bottom hits the fat first before it rolls around to the top. Vice versa. I'm just going on a hunch here that when some of the fat begins to render, it will melt down onto the meat, helping add more flavor. I'll have to do a bit of research to let you guys know if that's how it works, but I've seen it done both ways. How do you guys like to do it? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to check in with you guys maybe 2 hours from now, 3 hours from now, but I'm not really going to touch this for 6 hours, okay? I'll see you guys in a bit. Hey folks, we're coming up to the 4-hour mark now. I noticed the temperature started to drop. We're actually down around 200 or so, so that's not good. I just took the top of the Weber Smokey mountain off to see what was going on. I had about 75% of the charcoal gone. Now remember at the beginning of the video, I said that we've been having this charcoal shortage in southwestern Ontario. I also said normally I like to use briquettes for the long smokes because lump will burn hotter and a little bit faster. I didn't think it would burn that fast. Anyway, I'm just leaving it open to the oxygen. I filled it back up, let this charcoal heat up again, and then I will reassemble. In the meantime, why don't you come over here and come take a look at the brisket. We'll have a little viewing. Oh yeah, look at that. That's the fat cap that's up. I bet the underside's looking pretty good too. You can see here some of the liquid's pooling. I'm probably going to push that off. Whenever liquid pools, that area will not cook evenly like the rest. But I'll deal with that. I'm going to put all this back together. I'll check in with you guys in another couple hours. See you in a little bit. Alright, welcome back folks. We are at the 6-hour and 10-minute mark. It's time to get this wrapped. After putting more charcoal on, I left this disassembled for about 10 minutes just to get the charcoal up to heat. Reassembled. It's been holding 250 for the last couple hours. I'm happy. Let's have a little viewing and then get it wrapped and throw it back on.
Little cameo.
I mean, this looks good. How's the jiggle? Oh man, jiggle test passes. That fat's getting nice and soft. I know this is going to render right down when we wrap it. Okay, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get out the tin foil, put the gloves on, and get this done. It's all wrapped up. I'm putting the temperature probe in because this thing needs to come off when it hits 200 degrees. This is part of, anyway, my ThermoPro remote thermometer. If you guys don't have one, check out the description box below. I have an Amazon link. It'll take you there. And I'm pretty happy with the product. It comes with 2 probes. The remote that sits with the barbecue, and then the other one I've got in the house, but I can go anywhere around the house, out front, in the garage, whatever, and it'll tell me what the temperature of the meat is. So I'm going to get this put in, and I'll check back with you guys when it hits about 200 degrees, okay? So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey everybody, we are at the 8-hour and 6.5 minute mark to be precise, because you know the extra 30 seconds matters. Temperature 206. I'm okay with that. I'd say close enough. Time to take it off. Take this guy out here and I'll just put it on a different angle. I don't want to make too many holes in the tin foil. A little bit of resistance, but I would say that's not too bad. I think I'm happy with that. I mean, this is my first brisket. I wouldn't know otherwise, but we're gonna take this off. Normally I'd wrap it in a towel and put it in a cooler. You see everybody doing that with blade roasts. You can do the same thing if you want to let your brisket rest. My cooler's been out in the garage. It's cold today. The cooler already is cold just being in the garage, so I'm not going to use it. I heated up the oven to about 150. I've shut it off just so that it's warm. I am still going to wrap it in a towel and throw it in the oven. I'll see you guys inside. it's time for the grand reveal. We just got back in from the deer blind. I figured that was a perfect opportunity. The brisket needed to rest. Some folks only do, 30 minutes to an hour. You can do longer. Was in there about 4 hours. That's a pretty substantial resting time. Lots of drippings in there too. I'm gonna save those. Holly said she wanted to make a gravy to go along with the veggies that we're having with dinner tonight, so that'll be awesome. Okay, I'm gonna start by slicing the flatly. If you guys remember from one of my previous videos, you should always try and slice against the grain. Well, it runs differently in the point, so when we get there, we actually have to turn this piece 90 degrees and then keep slicing so that we're still cutting against the grain. All right, come on in. Let's do our little analysis. If I give her the little squeeze test, it's juicy. It's not dripping juices. That's okay. Maybe there's something I can do to keep a little bit more moisture in there. You can see I've got a nice smoke ring. Not too much of a bark. I was pretty disappointed at that when we got to the point where I had to wrap it. I didn't have much of a bark set up. Maybe I needed the rub to be a bit thicker. I see a lot of guys hold it on their finger like this. Normally these competition guys, this thing folds right over, but that's not too bad. I think it's time to take a taste test. Oh, right on. All right, here we go. Right on. Right, let's get a couple slices of the point. That's the line right down the middle, where you have the flat, which runs along the bottom, and the point that runs along the top. Let's take this top piece here, so that I'm actually trying the right cut of meat. This is the point. It's a lot juicier than the flat was. Same thing, smoke ring, no bark. I'll have to work on that on my next round, but let's take a piece of this. So it pulls pretty nicely. Here we go. Amazing. That's amazing. Right on. Taste impressions. Overall, it has that beef flavor that you would anticipate from any kind of roast or cut of meat that's this large with some marbling throughout. I'm a little disappointed that the flat is dry, but I gotta say, for my first time doing a brisket, I'm actually impressed that it did come out this way. It's only gonna get better with practice from there to keep it nice and moist. The point, super moist, very juicy. The flavor is amazing. As far as the rub and the barbecue process went, like I said when I was doing my initial taste test, I'm kind of disappointed the bark didn't set up. Obviously I did something wrong, and I have a feeling I was a little chintzy on the rub. And the smoky flavor, not too bad, not overpowering. And as you saw, I did have a nice smoke ring, so there was some good smoke penetration. Overall, I would definitely do brisket again, and I'm going to do a little research on how to keep this half, the flat, much more moist, so it's just as enjoyable as the point. But overall, like I said, I'm impressed for my first time. I hope you guys give brisket a shot. If you've already done it, leave a comment down below and let me know how you do it. Do you wrap it? Do you leave it on for 12 hours? 18 hours? Have you done a big one, small one, whatever the case might be? Let me know down in the comments. Look, folks, I really appreciate you watching. As I said, this was my 100 subscriber brisket. A huge shout out to all my subscribers. I think I'm up to 109 or 110 subscribers now. Thank you so much for the support. It means a lot. Slap the like button, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe so I can see that you want to see more videos. All right, folks, look, give brisket a shot. Thanks again for watching, and don't tell my parents I was smoking in the backyard. I'll see you next time.